My name is Alan Gaskin, and I began my journey with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma in September of 2019. And I'm going to use these notes to keep me on track so that we can get this done in a succinct way and keep everyone awake. Following my September diagnosis in 2015, I started chemotherapy the following November. And at that time, I took part in 3-week cycles of chemotherapy that took me right through until March of 2016. And in April, that following month of April, I began radiation, which took place throughout the month of April. And in May of 2016, I had reached a remission, which was great news. And after that remission, I had about 14-15 months or so of remission, and then there was obvious lymph node involvement, and I relapsed with lymphoma. Would have been November of 2017. So in January of 2018, I went back into the chemotherapy regime. And that was the beginning of a very long process with 3 more different chemo regimes that ran from January of 2018 right through until July of this year, a total of 18 months. Now, up until spring of this year, the various chemotherapies were not successful helping me achieve remission. And the initial goal had actually been to prepare me for a stem cell transplant, but that was taken off the table several months ago, and while it's still an option, it's not a preferred option at this time. So I began a clinical trial on a fairly new drug that ran from September 2018 to July 2019, at which time I was on track for the groundbreaking CAR T-cell therapy in Boston. My wife Janet and I made 3 trips to the Boston Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in preparation for CAR T-cell therapy in June and July of this year. By July of this year, it was right around the beginning of July, my oncology team gave me the unexpected news that I had finally achieved remission on the trial drug. So, as it turns out, my CAR T-cell treatment was then deferred indefinitely, and I'm enjoying reasonably good health, and I'll likely go back to CAR T-cell therapy if that becomes necessary. The journey through treatment was very difficult, with somewhere around 30 hospital nights in both the VG and the Dartmouth General as a result of inpatient treatment, low white cell counts, and resulting infections. It is an understatement to say that this has had an impact on my wife and family. Emergency services have been required on a few occasions, and the constant monitoring and caregiving has been onerous, especially for my wife Janet. Our adult children have endured this rocky road and have been a great support for us. We've made at least 120 hospital visits, and I've actually lost count of those, and I've had somewhere near 124 different infusions of chemotherapy, plus 270 oral doses of a trial chemo drug since my diagnosis. Following my retirement as a school principal in 2009, I worked until March of 2016 with Symphony Nova Scotia, but I had to retire from that to take on a full-time job as a cancer patient. Receiving a cancer diagnosis is certainly life-changing, but there are many valuable lessons to learn from the experience. The QE2 chaplain, Reverend David McGinley, has said, "You can say to yourself, why me? Or you can say, what am I going to do with this?" So from that, I've learned some very important lessons. 1, life is short, so strive to take in every moment, find the joy that is there, and try to live in the moment. Also, it's inevitable that there will be suffering and loss in life. And what you do, or what I do, with those events is really critical. So for me, with incredible support of family, friends, my community, medical professionals, and researchers and organizations like the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, I'm still here enjoying life, one step at a time and one day at a time. Without incredible advances in chemotherapy and immunotherapy, I would not be alive today. And I am very grateful for the rich experiences that I have had since my diagnosis. I'm fortunate to live in a country with great health care and organizations like the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society of Canada that support patients, survivors, caregivers, and cancer research to end blood cancers. Thank you for the work that you do in supporting the thousands of people living their daily lives with cancer.